We begin with a story here where President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to the country after he attended the Commonwealth Heads of Government Conference in London, United Kingdom. They had held discussions on Nigeria-British relations with Prime Minister Theresa May prior to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meetings held between the 18th and 20th April 2018. The President also met the Chief Executive Officer of Royal Dutch PLC, Ben van Beurden, in connection with Shell and other partners' plan to invest $15 billion in Nigeria's oil industry. He also renewed discussions with the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Most Reverend and Right Honorable Justin Welby, a good friend of the President, on interreligious harmony in Nigeria and worldwide. The President also met with some prominent British and Nigerian residing in Britain. Government officials who received the President on arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport this evening include the service chiefs and the Minister of Federal Capital Territory. And now to our next story, as the raid of the Nigerian Senate by armed thugs continues to generate comments across the country and beyond. A Nigerian senator has faulted the security arrangement of the Nigerian parliamentary building. Galaxy's Godfrey Shemege reports that Senator Kabir Marafa faults the poor security arrangement at the National Assembly complex, adding that the desecration of the upper house of the Nigerian parliament is unacceptable. He, however, says the incident is a blessing in disguise as to prompt attempts to get things right.
See beggars on our corridors everywhere. In fact, there are people you can even call sons of the soil of National Assembly because you see them every blessed day, every day. But today, if you are representing channels, AIT, or anybody for that matter, you come to gates of National Assembly with your ID card and everything, the security system will ask you, who are you going to see? Where is the form he filled? Where is this? Where is that? So I think what happened, could be a blessing because definitely, certainly, these issues must be addressed now.
Marafa, who is one of the lawmakers who was against the suspension of Senator Ovie Omoagege, maintains that his position has not changed despite the events of recent days.
Stipulates suspension of legislators. I'm against it. Yes. And I'm still on that platform. However, politics is a game of number. I was not the only one that opposed the suspension of Omoagege. Speakers before me opposed it too. In fact, the Senate leader was the first to speak on that day, and I remember, even in my own comments, I first of all aligned myself to what he said. And so that is to say, I agree with all he said.
Recall that the saga began with the passage of the amended version of the Electoral Act, which favors reordering election sequence, a decision Omoagege was against. In the meantime now, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, has commended Nigerian auto dealers for the many multiplier effects of their business, which provided citizens with access to needed motor vehicles. Receiving a delegation of the Association of Motor Dealers of Nigeria, led by the National President, Ajibola Adedoyin, in his office in Abuja, Mustapha said AMDA's annual turnover of over 400 billion naira was a very welcome investment in the administration's drive for economic diversification away from oil.
But I can assure you that it is the intent of this government, and we are doing it, pursuing it with all the vigor to ensure that the sources of revenue that come into the Federation account is not only restricted to the proceeds that we receive as a result of our revenue and multinational.
Earlier, National President of the Association, Ajibola Adedoyin, asked for presidential amnesty on customs duties on imported vehicles for their members. He said the amnesty sought was like concessions already granted to some manufacturers in the country.
The scheme shall, among other things, provide a thriving platform for actual vehicle insurance policy as well as flexible vehicle acquisition scheme to help the fight against corruption and terrorism. This amnesty, if considered, shall generate a significant amount of revenue which the government requires now to contribute to continue to provide meaningful infrastructure for the country.
The group also discussed plans to reorganize its structure, business outlets and membership to help in reducing crime in the country and contribute to economic development. Away from that now, the federal government has appealed to members of the Joint Health Sector Union, JOESU, to end the nationwide indefinite strike they embarked upon last week. Dr. Sergei Ehanire stated this at the groundbreaking and turning of sword ceremony of the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta Annex, Ogun State. Nigeria's Minister of State for Health, Dr. Ehanire, says that health workers' strike damages the image of hospitals, hence the need for striking workers to return to work and resume negotiations with the government.
Damages the image of our hospital. I therefore take this opportunity to urge striking members of the health sector to resume work and return to the negotiating table. The government has the best of wills to guarantee your dues and your rights, but also to guarantee the God-given right to life.
In all our wards, that we need to make sure that all our primary health care centers is active, not just building primary health care centers, because they are those that will take the burden of all these our secondary and tertiary institutions, like what we are planning to do here.
Personally appeal to you to come to our aid in clearing of the road that leads to this site. Doing this, we believe it will ease the envisaged transformation challenges our patients and students will encounter when it fully takes off.
On his part, the medical director of the Federal Medical Center in Abeokuta, Professor Adewale Musa Olumu, expresses hope that the proposed university will take off with students admitted to read medicine by JAM, while the center will serve as a teaching hospital. Still to come, fire got Kaduna Electoral Commission office. Details of this and other stories when Galaxy News returns. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Galaxy TV News. For more updates and latest news, visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV, or tweet at us at GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. And still on the news, going to Kaduna State here, where the office of Kaduna State Independent Electoral Commission this morning at about 10:30 a.m. went up in flames on the second floor. The cause of the fire is not yet known. The fire affected all the offices on the second floor, including the office of the chairman, the legal department, finance minister, finance department, and the conference room. Details of losses incurred will take a few days to determine, as security personnel are investigating the immediate remote causes of the fire.
The cause of the fire is not yet known. The fire affected all the offices on the second floor, including the offices of the chairman, the legal department, the finance department, and the conference room. No life was lost, and there were no injuries recorded. At the time the fire started, the members of the commission were in an emergency meeting in the chairman's office.
Now, this is coming at a time the Kaduna State Electoral Commission is to conduct local government elections on the 12th of May 2018. In the meantime now, election observers under the auspices of Independent Service Delivery Monitoring Group has condemned reluctance of political party or individual for not bothering to verify voters' register provided by the Independent National Electoral Commission since 2011. Speaking at a media interaction in Abuja, ISDMG's Executive Director, Chima Amadi, noted that credible elections without credible and verifiable voters' register will continue to undermine election credibility if not checked on time.
I think this is part of the series of our ongoing conversations with the media with regards to the continuous voters registration that is being done all over the country. And we have decided to keep bringing the media and indeed Nigerians up to date with what is happening, because as we speak, we have our people on grounds observing the registrations.
The group, however, urged stakeholders to ensure that they give feedback on voter registration, particularly as the 2019 election draws close. Now away from that to another story here. In fulfillment of promises made in several fora by the leadership of the People's Democratic Party in Ekiti State and the National Working Committee, the party on Saturday scales the first hurdle towards the conduct of a party by electing ad hoc delegates in all wards in Ekiti State. The exercise, which was monitored by members of the National Working Committee, was roundly adjudged to be free and fair. In separate interviews with newsmen, the Southeast Organizing Secretary of the PDP, Victor Osaz, and the state chairman of the party, Boyega Guntuwashe, said the exercise has recorded tremendous success. Ekiti State Deputy Governor, Professor Kolakwo Olushola, who monitored the exercise in Ikere Ekiti, applauded members of the party for the way they conducted themselves. He said there has been no hitch in the conduct of the elections.
So far in Ado Ekiti local government, we have been able to access more than 3/4 of the wards, and I can tell you that everything is going on in a very peaceful manner. The usual rancor that we used to have in the past over issues like this are being harmonized.
That at the end of the day, the 177 wards will produce three ad hoc delegates that would vote in this general election.
The World Congress that we expected to select 3 ad hoc delegates, ward by ward, have been conducted in the Ikere local government, and it is peaceful in all the wards.
In another story now, in continuation of its crackdown on criminals, the Nigerian Army 81 Division has apprehended and paraded 23 suspected cultists, 7 imposters, and several others for alleged involvement in pipeline vandalism. General Officer commanding 81 Division, Major General Eno Bongudo, who was represented by Brigadier General Munde Ali, confirmed the arrest on Saturday while briefing journalists. Munde Ali said the suspected cultists from the IA confraternity were conducting physical training and initiation of new recruits in the Nigerian area of Ikorodu when they were rounded up.
Their arrest was preceded by shootouts between the troops of 174 Battalion, Ikorodu, and the cultists, within which 23 of the suspected cultists were arrested, while others escaped. 2 of the suspected cultists sustained various degrees of injuries, and one of them died during the initial.
Speaking on the suspected pipeline vandals, the army says they were intercepted at Ilara, Imagbo, and Imoro areas of Ikorodu during its anti-bunkering patrol activities. The army also spoke on the arrest of imposters who specialize in using the army uniform to perpetrate illegal activities. Most of them dismissed officers. Some of the suspects also gave their side of the story.
Division Nigerian Army discovered sabotage points along the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation pipelines, including a loading area in the creek for siphoning products, where 8 suspected vandals were arrested. Operation Checkmate arrested one Mr. Bello Kasimu, a dismissed soldier. He was arrested at Flower General Area opposite Fish Farm, Ikorodu, wearing a camouflage uniform, a military t-shirt. He specializes in escorting trucks to all parts of the country while parading
by the MP because they cited the inner polio on me, and after they took me to the office, they found with me the army badge, but the army badge was not mine. I was meant to return it that day to the owner before I was caught.
If they don't want me with the escorts.
And I entered the bush, I should cut corn. Ma go cook beans, beans and corn for us. Now I start to the hear gun, and nobody will hear gun when no go run. That's the thing we carry.
Truly, I'm into it 3 years ago, but since that incident happened, I stopped it. There is an incident that happened in.
Upon completion of preliminary investigations, the army assured that all suspects will be handed over to the police for prosecution. And still on security issues here, where the police in Bayelsa State said it has received 49 arms and different ammunition surrendered to the command headquarters in line with the directives by the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris. Displaying the arms at the State Police Headquarters in Yenugwa, the State Bayelsa Police Commissioner, Don Awuna, described the types of surrendered arms.
Family embarked on a systematic cartel of all criminals for the country, and the following firearms you have seen: 2 AK-47 rifles, 4 pump action gun, 1 La rifle, 1 Beretta pistol, 1 Miami revolver pistol, 29 locally made pistol, what is probably called Orca made. I don't know where that name comes from. 2 locally made cut to size double barrel guns, 1 locally made double barrel pistol, 2 locally made cut-to-size gun, 1 locally made wooden gun. Wooden.
Speaking further, he warned that those wearing illegal arms in the state will face prosecution if they are caught with such.
Arms such as pump action gun of all categories. Any other firearm, lethal weapons fabricated to kill, maim, or harm. The Bayelsa State Police Command will henceforth clamp down and prosecute persons arrested for unlawful possession of their formation firearm and others fall short of law. Please be advised and warned.
Recall that since the Inspector General of Police announced the ongoing arms mop-up exercise 2 months ago, the police command in Niger Delta states have not received the full cooperation of the people owing to the few arms surrendered. More stories coming up after this break. Do stay with us. welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Galaxy TV News. Moving on to Kwara State, where the people of Ofa and Erinle communities in the state have decided to end their age-long intercommunal conflict and forge ahead for mutual benefit, development and growth. The two neighboring communities, who in the past had engaged in violent and bloody clashes, were brought together by a youth organization committed to peace and development in the state. Speaking at a palais with the leaders of Ofa and Erinle in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, the chairman of the Peace Initiative, Umar Balogun, said that conflict had discouraged the people from realizing their potential for economic prosperity.
The importance of peace to human existence, I am painfully aware that the communal crisis between Ofa and Erinle is deep into very fabric of all Kwarans. We have all watched in distress and anguish as our people in the two communities of Ofa and Erinle unleash mayhem on one another. The loss of life and destruction of properties that have resulted from this clash sadden us all.
Traditional rulers of both communities expressed readiness of the communities to embrace peace. They, however, noted that mutual effort must be made to sustain it.
Always been for peace. They've always, most of the initiations on peace initiatives were always being brought about by Big Brother Ofa.
We have always been one. Ijalodi Loridowe. We are posed and ready for peace to reign supreme between our two communities. We have to be candid and speak the truth, but you must have the spirit of give and take.
The Kwara State Governor, who was represented by the Secretary to State Government, Isiaka Gold, urged the two communities to embrace peace and allow development to take place in their environs.
Our two towns, Ofa and the entire Oyo local government, are two local governments that are very important to the state governments. When we have peace in these two communities, there will be peace in the states, and Kwara will move forward better.
Now, following the ongoing security problems bedeviling the nation and the diverse calls put to the federal government to wake up to the present-day reality, a legal practitioner, Barrister Okoli Akirika, has urged the President Buhari-led administration to borrow relief from the government of Anambra State if indeed it wants to put an end to the numerous security challenges facing the country. Akirika, speaking to Galaxy News in Awka, the state capital, lamented bitterly over the state of insecurity in the country. He said one major sector the present administration has failed woefully is the security sector, and that the numerous problems facing the country are surmountable if there is political will.
We say that in the immense scale or schedule of needs, security ranks topmost. And again, Section 14 of 1991 was very, very clear. He says that the security of lives and properties of Nigerians shall be the primary responsibility of the government. So since government has failed to discharge its basic primary duty to the citizen, one can safely say that the government has failed. One may call organized crime against particular tribes, organized crime against particular sections of the country, organized crime against particular religious sects.
Away from that, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has insisted that the country cannot claim to have any government unless displaced farmers by headsmen are resettled back to their various communities. The erudite professor spoke at the unveiling of the 2018 Ife Festival series held at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. Soyinka harped on the need for the government and the people to embark on activities and engagements that would lead the country to development rather than destruction. On the theme of the festival, tagged Food and Identity, speakers at the event preached the culture of promoting good health through consumption of indigenous delicacies. The festival, which spans 7 days of traditional and contemporary theatre, cooking as well as exhibitions and other artistic presentations, will hold in July.
Those who've been displaced, the farmers who've been displaced in their hundreds from various parts of this nation, especially the north, if they have not, those farmers have not been taken back and restored to their productive environment, then it means we have no governance.
As we are all aware, the centrality of food to human existence and survival is unquestionable. And with the current concern over food security on the continent, there cannot be a more opportune moment than now to focus attention on food and food-related matters.
The basic difference between us and those who are living to 100 was what they were eating that we are no longer eating. So it is in our own interest to go back and rediscover those food. So that is exactly what this festival promises to do. And we are not going to limit ourselves just to the Yoruba food. We call it a festival of food and identity in Africa, in the African diaspora, and indeed in the entire world.
In the meantime now, government at all levels in Nigeria have been advised on the need to embark on massive repair and renovations of historical monuments across the country for the benefits of future generations. Curators and other Nigerians who spoke with Galaxy News in Ibadan during a symposium organized as part of activities lined up for the 2018 International Day for Monuments and Sites decried the poor state of national and local monuments in Nigeria.
Celebration of International Day for Monuments and Sites is very, very unique. It's a global event internationally that's to create awareness for the prevention, protection, and conservation of our heritage.
We are celebrating International Monuments and Sites Day, and the theme for this year is Heritage for Generations. What are we talking about? We're talking about our sites and our monuments. How do we preserve them? How do we keep them? And how do we hand over to the next generation? From the documentary that we've seen, you see that most of them are in a deteriorating state.
Today we are celebrating the International Day for Monuments and Sites. It is a day that is celebrated all over the world for our monuments, our heritage, our sites.
They appeal to the government to collaborate with all necessary stakeholders in the areas of creating awareness as well as ensure preservation of all monuments and sites in the country.
Collaborating with us. 2, they need to also sponsor some of these programs. Like if we want to renovate a palace, we want to conserve a palace, it means you have to, logistically, you have to support it. Apart from that, there must be a creation of awareness in which the Ministry of Culture and Tourism will do to create awareness that these people, they will be coming to document, they will be coming to identify all these heritage sites.
As a nation, we need to preserve our heritage and our monuments because they tell a good story, they give us a sense of history, it's a way of life, it promotes tourism and all the other things that come with, keeping your heritage.
The Commissioner for Information and Culture says the state government has concluded arrangement towards transforming all sites and monuments in the state to tourist attractions. Away from that now, thousands of residents have stormed the streets of Port Harcourt, the River State capital, to campaign against constant air pollution in the state. Demonstrators made up of various groups moved from Isaac Borough Park to Government House office of the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, and the State House of Assembly to express their grievances over the black soot air pollution in the state.
We want the River State government to conduct an environmental audit of all host communities for oil production. We want the River State governor and the River State government to act and become a reservoir of environmental data on Rivers State.
Represented by Deputy Governor Dr. Buhari Banigo, Governor Wike said nobody is immune from the health hazards created by the suit. She said that Rivers State government would always cooperate with the federal government to see that matters concerning the environment are taken seriously.
Not be politicized. Nobody is immune. No single party is immune. Environment matters cannot be politicized. And so we want to tell you that the agencies that are clearing these obnoxious things.
The protesters expressed dissatisfaction over the manner in which government at all levels handled the suit issue, despite constituting harm to health of residents.
Yes, and like everyone has said, we haven't experienced the level of pollution that we've been witnessing, waking up every morning to very bad substances sprinkled all over our cars and even on the floors of the house.
So because it affects me, look at my nose, you see black everywhere. And I said that if the PDP, APC, everybody breathes in the air. And because all of us breathe in the air that is coming from the atmosphere, we should be able to do something about these things.
Moving on to Imo State now, following the ban of commercial tricycle operators, popularly known as Keke, from operating nowhere, the Imo State capital, residents have continued to lament over the untold hardship they are subjected to on a daily basis due to lack of transport system. Reacting to the development, Commissioner for Transportation, who also doubles as the chairman of Imo Transport Company, Okafo Onyawu, said the government is aware of the situation and is currently working to address the challenge.
Like I know, in any system, there is bound to be shock. This is an initial shock. We'll get over it. His Excellency has ordered for the release of all the rescue mission buses.